into the truth in the very early part of his life. And then you have Ibrahim interacting with his wife, interacting with his son, leaving him in Mecca and going back to his home. And then in the later part of his life, you have another incident. Ibrahim building the Kaaba with Ismail, as Allah says in Surah Baqarah. وَيَرْفَعُ إِبْرَاهِيمُ الْقَوَاعِدَ مِنَ الْبَيْتِ, that Ibrahim was erecting the foundations of the Kaaba with Ismail. So you have this consistent theme with Ibrahim alayhi salam with family. And there's a few things I want to mention that are not necessarily talked about, and how the Prophet ﷺ used to interact with his family and interact with his community. The first one is that the Prophet ﷺ used to smile a lot. He would smile a lot. To the point where one Sahaba talks about the Prophet ﷺ and he says, ما رأيت أحد أكثر تبسما من رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم, that I haven't seen anyone smile more than the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم. If you know anything about the Prophet in his life, think about that. There was no one who they saw smile more than him. He was someone who, if he had any excuse not to smile, would have been him. He is someone who experienced Ta'if, experienced Uhud. He's someone who buried every single one of his children except for one. And still the Sahaba said that when they saw him, they always saw him smiling. And the word that's used to describe smile in this hadith is tabassum. And the word tabassum just doesn't mean a smirk on your face. Tabassum actually means to smile with some of your teeth showing. You smile and you actually mean it. And this was the Prophet ﷺ. And it was especially with him, with his own family members. When he would interact with them, when he would talk with them, when he would be with them on a daily basis, he would do what? He would always smile with them. And so this is one of the legacies of Ibrahim alayhi salam that is carried on through the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, through this aspect of how he interacted with his own family and his community. So this is the first thing, is smiling a lot, and actually meaning when you smile, and not just smirking at people and you know, like what we do today. When we smile and we mean it, even though everything is going wrong in life, what do? You still smile, and you still smile to the face of your brother, you smile to the face of your sister. The second one, and I think it's a very unique attribute, is listening even though it doesn't concern you primarily. You know, there's one hadith in Bukhari in which Aisha radiallahu anha, she gets back from outside, and she tells the Prophet, she says, Ya Rasulullah, and they're having a conversation. And she says, I was with 11 women who were talking about their husbands. And Aisha's narrating this hadith. And Aisha says the first wife said this and this and this about her husband. The second one said this and this and this about her husband. The third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth. And what is the Prophet doing? He is sitting there and he's listening. Even though it doesn't primarily concern him, he's still listening to her. Because this is something that's important to Aisha to talk about. So he's listening to her. And at the very end of the hadith, and quite honestly, the hadith goes on for about 2 pages in Bukhari. The hadith is a very long hadith. And the Prophet is just listening to Aisha. And at the 11th person, the 11th woman who's talking about her husband, she's praising some qualities about her husband that she sees in him. And at the very end of that long description of this 11th woman with her husband, the Prophet says, he says, I am more to you, Aisha, than this woman is with her husband. Basically, I have more affection to you than this person has to her husband. Again, a lot of benefits of this hadith, but what's one benefit? That the Prophet was listening attentively, even though it didn't primarily concern him. The primary concern was not the Prophet in this hadith, it is he's listening attentively to his wife. So this is the second attribute or the characteristic of the Prophet with his family. The third one is a general thing in how he used to interact with children, how he used to interact with kids. There's a number of stunning or very amazing hadith about this. You know, Anas radiallahu anhu. Anas was a very young Sahaba. The Prophet passed away when he was in his 20s. And Anas says that, you know, for etiquette for us, whenever an older person walks into the room, or whenever we see an elder person, the expectation is what? The younger people say, initiate a salam with the older people. But Anas says what? He says, I saw the Prophet on numerous occasions where the Prophet ﷺ would initiate Islam with younger kids. He would be the one initiating as-salamu alaykum to the younger kids. And so this is not only just this of saying salam, but think about this. Whenever the Prophet would see Hassan and Hussein in the masjid, there was one incident in Friday khutbah where the Prophet saw Hassan and Hussein in the very back of the masjid, and they were coming and they were running up to the minbar, and the Prophet does what? He pauses the khutbah and goes to them and embraces them. Imagine if any khatib today does that in Friday prayer. Imagine what we would do to them. But what does the Prophet do? He loves his grandchildren so much. What does he do? He stops the khutbah, he goes to them, he meets them midway, and he embraces them. Now take a look at this. The Prophet would do, he says one very, and I'll end with this point. He says one very famous hadith about salah. The Prophet would say that whenever he was feeling difficulty in life, or whenever he wanted some coolness to his eyes, what would he usually do? He would make salah. He would pray. That was the go-to thing for him. But in salah, the Sahabas describe that whenever the Prophet was in salah and leading the prayer in the congregation, and he would hear a baby cry in the back, what would he do? He would pray up the prayer. This is the character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, something that was more beloved to him, something that brought coolness to his eyes, something that eased his mind and all the stress of his life was salah. But when he heard a child crying in the back, what would he do? He would hurry the prayer up so the mother can now get to the child and basically calm the child down. This is the Prophet ﷺ in regards to his character and having that same legacy of all the prophets, especially Ibrahim alayhi salam, with regards to their character. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So one of the advices for myself and for everyone, we have now the joyous occasion of Eid. And Eid should be about family time. Spending time with your family. If you can't, just for 3 days, put your phone away and actually talk and interact with your children. Talk with them, see what's going on in their life. And this should be a joyous occasion for all of our families. Put our phones away, put the internet away, put the TV off, and actually spend time with our family. This is, amongst all the other things, this is part of living the legacy of all the prophets and how they used to interact with their family. Again, the Prophet would do what? He would smile a lot, he would listen attentively, and he was always courteous, he was always cognizant of children who were around him, whether it was giving salams to them first, or whether it was crying, or whether it was their crying in the back. So I want to wish everyone an Eid Mubarak. I want to have just a couple of announcements. The first one is I believe there's some riots and everything afterwards after the Eid Salah. But another thing this masjid is struggling for, well, not struggling, but this masjid is in need of your donations. And just realize, and this is coming from me personally, who grew up in a community that was organic just like this. The masjid is, a lot of the masajids are run by a few people. And that's the case. But if everyone chips in and everyone puts their time and their effort and their money in, this communities will run a lot better than they are being run today. So I want to just remind everyone, just keep your masjid in your du'as and your donations, not only today but throughout the year. And kullu aam wa antum bi khair, Eid Mubarak.
बात है।
हाँ चाय वाला निकाल, डोनट निकाल, तो डोनट आ गया।